Hey everyone, welcome back to Talk Tickers, where we, as always, break down the most important earnings calls.
That's right.
And today we are diving deep into Airbnb's Q4 2024 performance.
And let me tell you, they wrapped up the year with some really impressive numbers, giving us a glimpse into their future plans.
Yeah, for sure. I was really struck by the 12% year-over-year growth they saw in both revenue and nights booked in Q4.
Yeah, and not just growth, accelerated growth. It was actually their best quarter of the entire year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that full year adjusted EBITDA of $4 billion with a 36% margin. That's a pretty significant jump from where they were just a few years ago in 2020.
Right. It's a 40 percentage point margin expansion. To put it simply, for every $100 in revenue, they're keeping $36 in profit compared to a much smaller amount back in 2020.
It shows their commitment to profitability. And they're not just sitting on that cash either. They bought back $3.4 billion of their own stock.
A classic sign of confidence.
No, definitely. And all this is on top of generating $4.5 billion in free cash flow in 2024. That gives them a lot of flexibility to invest in growth, which is exactly what they're doing.
They are, and they've rolled out a crazy number of improvements to their platform this past year.
That's a ton.
Yeah, over 535 features and upgrades. Think about things like their guest favorites feature, which, by the way, led to 250 million nights booked all by itself.
Wow, yeah, and their co-host network has added almost 100,000 listings in just a few months.
It's incredible. And these aren't just like surface-level changes.
Sure, right.
They're really tackling some big pain points for both guests and hosts, smoothing out the entire Airbnb experience, making it better for everyone.
And it's all built on a completely rebuilt technology platform. They essentially swapped out the engine of a car while it was still running.
A risky move, but definitely shows their commitment to innovation and staying ahead of the curve.
And for our listeners, this translates to an even more user-friendly and feature-rich platform in the years to come.
This new platform is the foundation for their plans to grow beyond just short-term rentals.
Yeah, this Airbnb ecosystem idea is really intriguing.
They're really aiming to become a much broader travel and living platform.
So what exactly does this ecosystem look like? What's their game plan for the future?
Well, their multi-year growth strategy has three main parts. Perfecting their core service, which we just talked about then, growing rapidly in global markets. And this is the exciting part, launching brand new offerings.
They mentioned Brazil being a big success story, and it sounds like Japan is next on their list. And then there's the $200 to $250 million investment in new businesses.
Right, and they were pretty tight-lipped about the details.
Understandably so.
But they did say that marketing and product development are their top priorities.
Yeah.
And they hinted that these new businesses will be tightly connected to the core Airbnb experience. I mean, imagine booking your flights, reserving a rental car, and discovering local gems all within the Airbnb app.
It paints a pretty exciting picture. They're not just offering places to stay anymore. They're building a complete travel and living ecosystem. And speaking of exciting developments, what about AI? It's the hot topic these days.
Right. How will Airbnb incorporate AI into their vision?
Exactly.
Well, they address that head on. They want to be a leader in AI-enabled travel and living, starting with something really practical, AI-powered customer support.
Which is a smart move.
It is. They deal with a huge volume of customer interactions every day. AI can handle those inquiries around the clock in multiple languages, freeing up their human agents for the more complex issues.
It just makes sense. But they're not stopping there. They want to turn this AI customer service agent into a full-blown, personalized travel concierge right inside the Airbnb app.
Imagine having a 247 AI travel assistant who not only answers your questions, but also proactively recommends itineraries, finds hidden gems, and helps you book everything you need.
That's quite a vision. They're definitely positioning themselves at a cutting edge of the AI revolution in travel.
They are, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it unfolds.
Okay, so let's get down to the numbers. What's their financial outlook for Q1 2025?
They're projecting revenue between $2.23 and $2.27 billion,
Okay.
which translates to 4.6% year-over-year growth. But we have to remember that number looks smaller than it actually is because of some calendar quirks.
Right, the timing of Easter this year and the fact that last year was a leap year.
Exactly. Those factors make the comparison a bit tricky. If we adjust for those calendar effects and the impact of exchange rates, the underlying growth rate is closer to 10-12%, which aligns with their Q4 performance.
That's more like it. So their growth engine is still going strong. What about their profitability?
Their adjusted EBITDA and margin are expected to be slightly lower in Q1 compared to last year, but that's mostly due to the calendar and exchange rate impacts we talked about. When you factor those out, the margin remains pretty steady.
So they're still committed to maintaining strong profitability even as they invest in new growth initiatives.
They're projecting a full year adjusted EBITDA margin of at least 34.5%, which is impressive given their ambitious plans.
It seems like their capital allocation strategy is very balanced, investing in core operations, exploring potential mergers and acquisitions, and returning capital to shareholders through stock buybacks.
They're playing a smart long game, thinking strategically about their resources.
For sure. And now for the part you've all been waiting for.
Oh boy, here it comes.
It's time for This Is Not Financial Advice, the segment where we let our imaginations run wild.
Remember, folks, this is purely for entertainment. Don't make any investment decisions based on what you hear here.
Right. But imagine this Airbnb, already a giant in the travel industry, decides to go all in and become the Amazon of travel.
The Amazon of travel.
We start offering everything: flights, rental cars, restaurant reservations, curated experiences, even travel insurance, all seamlessly integrated into their platform.
You're talking about a travel super app, a one-stop shop for every travel need.
Exactly. They already have a huge global user base, a trusted brand, and a powerful technology platform. Why not leverage all of that to conquer new areas of the travel industry?
It's a bold vision, and they'd face some stiff competition from established players.
Of course. But if anyone can pull it off,
It might be Airbnb.
it just might be. All right, let's bring it back down to earth before we get too carried away.
Remember, this is all hypothetical.
Purely for fun. But on a more serious note, let's leave you with a thought-provoking question.
What do you think the future holds for Airbnb?
Will they become the Airbnb of travel? Or will they face insurmountable challenges along the way? Share your thoughts and predictions on social media. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. We want to hear your thoughts.
And be sure to tune in for part 2 of this deep dive, where we'll explore some of the potential risks and challenges that Airbnb might encounter on their ambitious journey.
We'll be back soon with more.
Until then, happy travels.
And happy investing. Welcome back to Talk Tickers.
In part 1, we talked about Airbnb's strong Q4 2024 results and their plans for growth. But
Right.
as with any big plans, there are going to be challenges. What are some of the potential hurdles they might face?
Well, one of the biggest challenges for any fast-growing company is competition.
For sure.
And the travel industry is already super competitive.
Yeah, you've got big players like Booking.com and Expedia all fighting for market share.
Exactly. And don't forget about Google.
Right, Google's getting more and more into travel as well.
They are. And then you have the traditional hotel industry.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to just sit back and watch Airbnb disrupt their business.
We're already seeing pushback from them in the form of regulations and lobbying efforts, especially in cities.
Right, trying to slow Airbnb's growth.
Airbnb has to navigate this regulatory landscape really carefully.
It's going to be crucial for their success.
They've already hit some roadblocks in places like New York, Paris, and Barcelona.
Yeah, cities that are worried about housing affordability and the impact of short-term rentals.
Exactly. And it's going to be a delicate balancing act for Airbnb.
They need to work with local governments and address community concerns.
Right.
But they also need to fight for policies that allow them to operate fairly.
Absolutely. And for our listeners, this means paying attention to regulatory changes in key markets.
Because those changes can have a big impact on Airbnb's growth.
Another challenge for Airbnb is execution.
Oh.
Launching new businesses isn't easy even for a company with Airbnb's resources.
Right.
They'll need to find great people, develop great products, and market those products to a global audience.
Not to mention all the technical challenges.
Oh, yeah. Building a seamless travel and living platform is a huge task.
It's a massive undertaking. They need to make sure their technology can handle all the new traffic and data.
Absolutely. And they can't afford to overlook security and privacy.
Right, they're dealing with sensitive user data.
Payment information, personal details.
They have to keep all of that safe from breaches and cyber attacks.
Absolutely. And then there's AI.
Right, everyone's talking about AI.
As they start incorporating AI into their platform, they have to be very careful about ethical considerations.
Making sure those AI algorithms are fair and unbiased.
It's a challenge, but it's something they're already thinking about. They talked about how they're starting with AI in customer support,
Right.
which is a good first step, but they need to keep those ethical implications in mind as they go further.
Yeah, striking a balance between the power of AI and the well-being of their users.
Exactly.
Another challenge is going to be managing their growth while staying true to their brand and their unique culture.
That's a good point. Airbnb has done a great job of creating a sense of community and belonging.
Right, it's more than just a place to find a place to stay.
It's about experiences, connections, and adventure.
But as they get bigger and cater to more and more travelers,
Yeah.
they need to make sure they don't lose that authentic community-driven spirit.
It's what sets them apart from the competition.
If they forget their core values, they risk becoming just another faceless travel giant.
Exactly. The challenge is to scale up without losing the essence of what made them successful in the first place.
It's a tricky balance to strike.
It is, but it's essential if they want to achieve their long-term goals.
So how can they mitigate all these risks and navigate these challenges? What strategies should they be focusing on?
It boils down to careful planning execution and a deep understanding of their customers.
Okay.
They need to keep innovating, expand globally in a smart way, build a strong and diverse team, prioritize partnerships, and most importantly, maintain strong relationships with their hosts.
Let's break those down one by one, starting with innovation.
Okay.
We've already seen how they've been constantly improving their core service. What other innovations could we see from them?
Well, think about personalized travel recommendations powered by AI, maybe even virtual reality experiences that let you explore destinations before you book, or even blockchain-based loyalty programs.
Those are some interesting ideas. But it's not just about having ideas, it's about executing them flawlessly.
Exactly. And that's where a strong and diverse team comes in. They need to attract the best engineers, designers, marketers, data scientists, people who can bring these innovations to life.
And it's not just about technical skills either.
Right?
They need people who understand the travel industry, who are passionate about creating great experiences.
The people who share Airbnb's values.
Exactly.
Diversity and inclusion are really important too.
Absolutely, to make sure they're creating products that appeal to a wide range of travelers.
It's the right thing to do, and it's good for business.
Now let's talk about global expansion. We know they're targeting markets like Brazil and Japan,
Right.
but expanding globally is more than just setting up shop in a new country.
It is. You have to understand the local market, adapt your offerings, and comply with local regulations.
And you have to build relationships with local communities.
Absolutely. Airbnb needs to make sure their growth benefits everyone, not just themselves.
Okay, now let's move on to partnerships. Traditionally, Airbnb has been a pretty self-contained platform. But as they expand into new areas like experiences and transportation, they're starting to open up to more partnerships.
Strategic partnerships can definitely help them grow faster.
They could partner with airlines, hotels, car rental companies, tour operators, all sorts of travel providers.
To create a more comprehensive travel experience.
Exactly. And they could also partner with local businesses and organizations.
To offer unique experiences and promote sustainable tourism.
It's all about using external expertise and resources to make the Airbnb ecosystem even better.
But they need to be selective.
Right.
Choosing partners that align with their values and goals.
Because a bad partnership could hurt their brand.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about what I think is one of Airbnb's most valuable assets, their hosts.
Absolutely.
Hosts are the heart of the platform. They're the ones who provide those unique accommodations that travelers are looking for.
Airbnb needs to do everything they can to keep those hosts happy.
Right. What can they do to strengthen those relationships?
Well, they need to give hosts the tools and resources they need to manage their listings, communicate with guests, and provide great hospitality.
And they need to listen to their feedback and address any concerns.
Absolutely. They need to make hosts feel valued and appreciated.
Create a win-win situation where everyone benefits.
Hosts are more than just service providers.
Right.
They're ambassadors for the brand.
Exactly.
Building a strong host community is crucial for Airbnb's future.
So there's a lot going on with Airbnb's growth strategy.
A lot of moving pieces.
They're operating in a complex and ever-changing industry.
There are going to be both opportunities and challenges.
But they have a history of innovation, a dedicated team, and a loyal following.
It'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds. If they play their cards right, they could really change the travel industry for good.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what happens. But for now, let's have a little fun.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
It's time for Talk Tickers Take, Bulls versus Bears, where we see what the optimists and the skeptics are saying.
The battle of the bulls and the bears.
In this corner, we've got the Bulls charging ahead, full of optimism. They're seeing nothing but sunshine and huge potential for Airbnb.
And across the ring, the bears digging in their claws, warning about all the risks that could trip Airbnb up.
So let's start with the Bulls. What's got them so pumped about Airbnb?
Well, they're looking at that impressive growth-strong financials and the bold vision for the future.
Right. They see Airbnb as a real game changer, a company that's shaking up the way we travel.
They're especially excited about that global expansion, all the new offerings they're developing, and their use of technology, especially AI, to improve the travel experience.
They think Airbnb has a huge market waiting for them, and they see the current stock price as a bargain.
A steal, considering their long-term potential.
But what about the bears? What are they worried about?
The bears are a little more cautious. They're not denying Airbnb's strengths,
Okay.
but they're pointing out the challenges too, like that fierce competition, the tricky regulations, and the risks that come with starting new businesses.
Right. And they're worried about AI potentially changing the travel industry in ways that could hurt Airbnb.
They're not saying Airbnb is doomed,
Right.
but they're saying investors need to be realistic and aware of the risks.
So who's right? The bulls or the bears?
It's probably somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, as usual.
Airbnb has a lot going for it, but they definitely face some obstacles too.
Their success is going to depend on execution, adapting to the market, and navigating all those regulations and technological changes.
It's going to be an interesting journey to watch.
And now for the grand finale of This Is Not Financial Advice,
All
where we let our imaginations run wild.
right, time to get creative.
Don't forget, folks, this is purely for entertainment purposes. Only.
It's not financial advice.
Okay, so here's my crazy, but maybe not so crazy idea. What if Airbnb goes full meta and creates a virtual travel platform in the metaverse?
Whoa, hold on.
Hear me out.
You're saying a virtual world where people can explore destinations, experience different cultures all from their homes? Exactly. They could team up with travel brands, destinations, even individual creators to build immersive virtual experiences. Like nothing we've ever seen before.
So people could visit the Louvre Walk, the Great Wall of China, all from their couch?
And it wouldn't just be sightseeing. They could offer virtual cooking classes, language lessons, concerts, sporting events, anything you can imagine.
A whole new way to experience the world.
It sounds crazy.
It does, but I kind of love it.
Right.
The metaverse is still new, but it could really change a lot of industries, including travel.
And Airbnb is known for innovation, and they have a strong brand.
Yeah, they could be the perfect company to lead the way.
Okay, let's not get too carried away. This is all just hypothetical.
Wait, here's a little fun.
Just for fun. But hey, maybe someday we'll be booking virtual vacations on Airbnb just like we book real ones now.
Who knows?
It could happen.
So that wraps up our deep dive into Airbnb's Q4 2024 earnings call.
We talked about a lot.
We did. Their financial performance, their growth plans, the challenges they face.
And of course, that wild metaverse idea.
We hope you found it all interesting and helpful.
As always, do your own research and make your own investment decisions.
That's right.
And let us know what you think.
Yeah, share your thoughts on social media. We love hearing from you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on Talk Tickers. Until next time, happy investing.
And happy travels.